Ryan Fox then, we spoke to him earlier today. First question being, how long have you been celebrating for, mate?
Well, Sunday night was pretty large, and then I had a banging hangover on Monday and actually a corporate day to play, and I'm still hungover today, and it's Tuesday night. So yeah, it was a pretty good one.
So who are you celebrating with?
It was actually really nice. So Wentworth put on a bit of a spread after, so we finished I think about 4:30. Had a fair bit of media to do, and then they've got a really nice terrace overlooking the first tee, which they kept private for us. I had all my team up there, caddy, coach, managers. My family was up there. A few of the other players came up and had a drink, and there was plenty of food, plenty of drinks, and just quite a cool way to spend an evening. And then we had a couple of us come back to our place in Sunningdale, which is about 10 minutes away, and we opened a couple of bottles of nice, well, more than a couple of bottles of nice French red, and I'll just say gin and red wine don't mix overly well.
I'm so thrilled for you. Look, everyone here in New Zealand who loves their sport, especially loves their golf, is, mate. It was a fantastic win. Is that the best you've ever played?
Definitely that back nine. I mean, if you take out the third hole, well, actually just the third tee shot on Sunday, I don't have much better. I pretty much didn't miss a shot bar that tee shot. And, I would say, that back nine could well be the best 9 holes of golf I will ever play in my career, considering the circumstances. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome, to be honest, to do it in that company, to do it in that type of event, and do it when it really meant something. And yeah, I still don't quite believe it. I'm probably quite nervous thinking about what happened, even though at the time I was very calm and just dealing with what was coming in front of me, which was it was as in the zone as I've ever been.
That was exactly what I was going to ask you. All athletes talk about this, that all of a sudden it just feels like everything I'm doing it exactly right, and I don't even have to think about it. Is it that kind of feeling?
It was, and to be honest, I haven't had it very often in golf. You get it maybe every now and again in a social round when you just don't think about it and it happens to come out all right. But I've always sort of maybe not struggled to get into it, but not quite understood what it meant in the tournament. Even though I've won and done lots of good things, I've always, been conscious of it, if that's the right way to put it. Whereas on Sunday, it was literally just get up, hit it. Okay, that's where I need to hit it, and without almost any feedback, it went exactly where it was supposed to go, which was very cool. And I didn't feel nervous. I didn't feel under pressure. I felt very cool and calm, which is very, very different than I would have expected to feel in that situation.
It's almost like what you're saying is that you're not thinking about it. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. It just became so one shot at a time that not once did I have a thought about what winning would have meant at all. Like, obviously, I had in my head that I was trying to win the golf tournament. That's what I wanted to do, and that's a good place to be. I wanted to beat the guys, but at no point did I think about who I was trying to beat, because I think if you're thinking about beating a charging John Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton down the stretch, I probably would have done my head in. But I was just going, I can control all of what's going on with what I do, and that's just what happened. It was almost a slightly out of body experience.
Wow. You had the whole goddamn Ryder Cup team behind you, mate. I mean, look at those names. Hovland. I mean, he's just won the FedEx. God's sake. Rahm, Fleetwood, McIlroy, Hatton. I can go down the list. I mean, that's who you beat. This is the great thing about it, isn't it? And this is what you've got forever now. Because I remember we've talked over many, many times and talked about what it's going to take to win a major and to beat these guys at a major. Well, I think you've just shown yourself exactly what. That is the blueprint, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's, I guess I'd always believed that I could beat those guys. I didn't quite know what it would take, but to now know that my best golf can beat them. They may play their best golf a bit more consistently than I do, but you can't. I played with Tyrrell on Saturday. He was playing great. obviously John Rahm is the world number 2 or 3 or whatever it is for a reason. He's the Masters champion this year. He
That's right.
is
Yep.
playing great, and I know that my best golf can beat them, and that's pretty cool. And I can take a lot out of that going forward. That's for sure.
Ryan Fox still basking in the glow, winning the BMW, such a major event, and $2.6 million. I'll ask you about that in a second. Now, so I got a phone call early morning Monday from Telf, who'd been up all night watching you. And he just said that this is just incredible. And you know how much sport there was on in New Zealand all over the weekend. Liam Lawson was racing, the Warriors were playing, there was World Cup, and all of this. And he said if you can get him on this week, he said those last 2 holes he played perfectly. And he said that you played a little conservatively. He said you laid up, I think it was on 18, but he just said that you played that hole perfectly. Can you remember?
Yeah, I mean, 17's. I've started 17 first. That's a very uncomfortable hole. OB left, big dog leg, fairway slopes the wrong way, and I've hated that hole in the past for various different reasons. And it was playing into the wind. I had a perfect tee shot down the right, and I kind of made the decision all week that I wasn't going to go on the green. It's not really worth it. It brings too much trouble into play. And I hit it perfectly in the fairway, laid up probably slightly further than I wanted to, hit a solid wedge shot in there, a little left of the hole, a little long, and left the putt short in the heart. And that I knew it on the last. I had a 1-shot lead, but there's a birdie. There's definitely birdies to be had down the last, and made the call off the tee to hit 3-wood. It probably puffed up a little more into the wind than I thought it was going to. 3-wood didn't quite go as far, but 3-wood basically gave me the option of hitting. If I hit it left, I wasn't going to be in trouble, and I could still go at the green if I needed to if someone had made eagle, but it was probably going to be more a 3-shot par 5. And I hit a tee shot where I had a chance to go at it. I saw Tyrrell had made birdie, and we kind of made the decision between me and my caddy that we were just going to lay up the wedge shot from that second fairway. Is pretty easy to get close. There's a big slope right of it. You don't actually have to go at it to get close. I laid up to a really good number. I think I had 100 meters on the button, which is just a nice, comfortable sandwich for me. The greens were pretty receptive after the rain. I knew I had a perfect target of one of the on-course commentators who was standing about 15 foot right of the flag, and I just got up and hit it straight at him. It literally landed exactly where I wanted to, and spun a little bit down the hill exactly where I wanted it to, and I gave myself a really nice putt. And obviously, it was a little nervy standing over that putt, but I'd been putting so well over the weekend. All I knew I had to do was kind of get it started online, and it was going to go in, and that's exactly what happened.
Crazy, eh? It's just, look, I go back to when you're sitting in the studio with me back at Radio Sport, and we were talking about Melbourne, and I'm going to go back there when you had Grant on the bag and everything, and things weren't going so well, and you're wondering whether or not you should even bloody do this as a job and everything, and you whatever demons you managed to overcome at that time. I mean, just think about where you were then to where you were on the weekend. It's just it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, it shows what sport can do to someone both ways. That was the lowest I've been probably in tournament golf when I spoke to you before going to Melbourne. Was that probably 10, 11 years ago, something like that?
Yeah.
And that was potentially make or break for me in terms of career. If I hadn't had a decent result that week, which thankfully I did, that my career could have ended 2 weeks after that, and I would be, God knows what I'd be doing right now. And then, walking off that golf course on Sunday is the exact opposite of that. It feels absolutely on top of the world, and it is career defining in a very different way. It doesn't mean that it means a lot in terms of having a job going forward, but it opens so many doors where literally the other result was the difference between choosing something completely different or maybe still playing golf the next year. So it's amazing what sport can do, and I don't ever want to get to that low again, but I'd certainly love to live that high of the weekend again. I mean, that's why you do it.
Ryan Fox is with us. So now you're confirmed on the PGA Tour next year, and I've been reading some comments and other interviews over the last couple of days where you say, great, so now you'll be able to just lock yourself into the United States and give that a great crack as opposed to sort of flying in, flying out, picking tournaments and all of that. Is that going to be, is that a big deal for you that you'll just be able to know where you're going to be now week after week?
Yeah, I think with the win giving me, the DP World Tour card in my back pocket for a few years, it just makes everything easy for next year. This year's been really good, but really tough at times with all the travel, in and out, and a bunch of stuff going on at home as well. So, to have the option next year to basically go all in. Obviously, I will still play some events back in Europe, but to actually give it a good crack. I haven't ever been completely sold on the States in terms of when I've played there. I haven't enjoyed it overly much. I've enjoyed some events a lot, obviously like the Masters and the Players and Bay Hill, but there's a lot of times where I felt very lonely and really not liked it. So it'll be good to be able to do it properly, like what we did in Europe when I first got my card out here, to actually go over, have a base over there, get the family over there for a while, and see if I actually do really like it. I mean, it's been a dream to get a PGA Tour card, ever since I started playing golf. So, yeah, to actually, I guess not officially have it yet, but probably mathematically, have it locked up is pretty awesome. And, I've still got a bit to play for out here to get some extra benefits for next year out there. But yeah, last week, I think I said it in the previous comment that it is literally career defining, and opens a lot of doors for me.
It seems indecent to ask you about the money. I mean, but it's such a huge amount of money. It's like a lotto win. I mean, $2.6 million. Without wanting to go into too much detail, what do you do with it all? How much do you actually get out of that? I mean, I know you've got other people that you got to pay and all of that kind of stuff. Or do you not think about that? Does the manager take care of all that stuff?
Well, no, I mean, I deal with most of that, and you definitely don't get as much as what obviously it's quoted as that, but I think by the time I've paid everyone out, including the tax man, I'd probably be lucky to get about 40% of that.
Still not bad.
So, oh no, I'm not complaining at all.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's a fair few expenses that I can offset against that. There's caddy fees and coaches and everything else, which offsets some of that tax. But yeah, it's you get a lot, but I don't think, when you see, $2.6 million, I definitely don't get $2.6 million. And, it's without, and I mean this with the greatest sense of respect, it's not about the money at all. Like, I wasn't thinking about that. If that was worth nothing, that event, I'd still be absolutely chuffed with who I beat down the stretch. That means far more to me than the money out of it. I've done pretty well. It's awesome. It helps out the family and everything like that. But it's not in the sense, it's not like a lotto win. It is not a completely life-changing thing. I don't do it for that. I just do it to play. I do it because I love playing golf, and that's what I want to do. I want to win golf tournaments, and those are the ones you want to win. Just the money's a kind of nice bonus at the end of it.
So awesomely proud of you, just on a personal, because I mean, I feel like, we've got to know each other a little bit over the last decade and more in that, and just so awesomely proud of you, man. I mean, and I'm not going to go in and ask you about all the things that have gone on this year, because you've had some beautiful things happen to you, and you've had the most crushing things happen to you as well, and life throws you all of these things, doesn't it? And then on the weekend, as you said right at the beginning of this, wow, something spiritual happens, man. Your swing comes together, you're in the right place at the right time for whatever set of circumstances, and life just dishes you up the biggest plate ever. It's just terrific, mate. I'm so proud of you and so pleased for you.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. I mean, the support from back home, not just from you, but from so many people, has just been incredible. And I think you put it right. It was spiritual's maybe not the right thing.
Yeah, I don't know what the word is, mate. Sorry, yeah.
But it's kind of like the golf gods. I've had a couple of tournaments where I felt like I've done enough to win, and someone else has done something incredible, and it felt almost like the golf gods picked me last week, like it was my turn to do something incredible to win a golf tournament. If that makes that, yeah, that's kind of what makes sense in my head at the moment, which is pretty cool, and it's a pretty good tournament for them to pick for it to happen.